Welcome back to another episode of Rail Industry Connected. I'm Dan Clark, and thank you for joining us. We're here today to talk about another exciting innovation. Partnership between AmcoGiffen and SHEQ Global has pushed the boundaries of what digital worksite protection with their launch of revolutionary AI-powered S.T.R.E.A.M app. Born out of AmcoGiffen's strategic and behavioural safety objectives, companies partnered with AI safety solutions pioneer SHEQ Global to develop the app, which has already been extensively tested in field trials on a live project, resulting in an 88% reduction in all incidences of PPI. I'm joined today by Chris English, the SHEQ Director for AmcoGiffen, and Jonathan Guest from SHEQ Global to discuss more. Chris and John, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thanks for the opportunity, and it's good to be on your podcast.
Thank you. All right, so the app itself seems like a significant step to improve worksite safety. Please tell us a bit more about it and how it came to fruition in the first place.
Right, so we've worked with AmcoGiffen for many years with Safety Shield system, which is a AI-powered human form recognition system, which basically informs the operator and the people on the ground if they're getting too close to working plant and machinery. So the system itself produces data based on incursions around plant. So we have two zones which are set around the machine, an outer zone and an inner zone. So you're getting different alerts created for each zone, which then goes back to our Safety Shield View portal, which is a live incident portal, which basically logs time, date, location, and a small video clip and a photograph of each inner or outer zone incursion. Now, the data's great. You're getting a lot of data coming through, you can imagine, when you've got large fleets on site. And the data really is being created not to catch people out at all. It's being created to try and change behaviour on site. So the issue we're having is there's that much data that it was becoming a problem where people not having time to deal with this data. So you've got the data, you've got the tools to change the behaviour. It's just you haven't got the resources or the time to deal with it. So we've been looking at different options, and then we were approached by Chris, who came up with the idea for the app and said, look, can we work with you to develop this so that we can actually reduce the amount of data that's coming through? And the other side of it was we didn't want it to have to be dealt with by a health and safety manager at the end of the month and trawl through all this data. It was basically created so that people on the ground are dealing with the data in real time, and that also mirrors what's in the portal. So once this data has been dealt with and actioned on site, that's mirrored back into the portal as a full report. But I'll let Chris explain a bit more about this and why it came about in the first place.
Yeah, thank you, John. As John says, it was really an opportunity to have a discussion with John regarding several things, introduce John into behavioural science and what we're doing, and talk about the app. So we thought there was something in it, as John says, removing data and actually getting the right data to the right people at the right time. So actually the app's instant. Most of the time when there's a great signal, so the app's instant, it gets the supervisor, receives a notification via the app, so it's a beep. No different to a text, slightly different sound, obviously, to make it different. And the supervisor's got a number of options, but really links into our behavioural science journey and what we're trying to do on creating environments where safety is the only option. So the supervisor receives a notification. He clicks onto the app. He can see a visual of what's gone wrong and what's not going quite right. So if someone's in one of the exclusion zones, also gives them a picture, an imagery of a map of where it is. So it's really, really easy for the supervisor and intuitive for them to say, it's that part of the job, this operation, I can see it. The supervisor acknowledges that they've seen it, so they acknowledge it on the app, so they've seen it. The supervisor then goes to the work site and has a discussion with the workers involved, whether it's a plant operator, people on the ground, and tries to identify within the app what's the causation. So the app's got a number of causations built in, all sit behind behavioural science. So all talk about at-risk and reduced risk behaviours, all talk about environments, space, for example, interface with other contractors. So the supervisor has the option to click on one of 4 options of what's caused the situation to arise. There's also an other box. So if it's something totally different, they can do free text as well. So once the supervisor's identified the causation, the team work together to find a solution. So again, backed by behavioural science and creating the right environment, there are behavioural science prompts in this next section as well. And the supervisor works through with the site team what they're going to do differently. 1, to change the environment, 2, to change their behaviours, or again, there's another box. And once everyone's agreed on that, the supervisor completes that section of the app, presses acknowledge, and that's done. So in the matter of a few minutes, we can find a problem, identify why it's not quite right, put a solution in place that changes habits, changes behaviours, or changes the environment we're working in. So it might be space, it might be nothing to do with people, it might be barriers weren't in place as part of the plan. So whatever it is, within minutes, we can have causation, solution, everyone back to work, but actually knowing that we've fixed the problem. And actually, as John says, there's a full audit trail back into the view portal of what was raised, when it was raised, and what was done to put it right. So we can use that trend analysis to actually form how we plan works. And it's really coming useful at the planning stage. We can see at planning stage how to try and drive out what we're seeing. So the trending and the analysis gives us some real intelligence to actually improve moving forward before we even set foot outside.
Your clients must love this, Chris, from an AMCO perspective, because giving that level of transparency, especially from an investigative point of view as well, you've got an immediate root cause definition there. And as we know, behaviours contribute to most of the accidents and incidents that happen on the tracks anyway. So, yeah, your clients must be absolutely loving seeing something like this coming into use.
Yeah, we're getting great feedback.
Good. That's what we like to hear. But obviously, when we're working in safety critical environments nowadays, that access to information, that instant access that you've talked about there, it's actually becoming a lot more crucial within any of the operations. But I think what's key to the success of something like this is actually understanding how the front line operates and those behavioural challenges that you're facing on a day-to-day basis for something like this to work. How is your collaboration together as 2 companies, combining that technological know-how, obviously, that you have there, Jonathan, and your safety focus from a frontline perspective, Chris? How's that contributed towards a product which isn't only useful, but it's also intelligent and in tune to the needs of the front line?
Okay, so the one great thing with the partnership is when we started on this journey, we had a number of variations, a number of attempts to get it there, but what we've done, we've used our supervisory teams to pilot it from the outset, to get their feedback and build their feedback into it. So John's technology and human form recognition and all of that has been used and modelled to what the supervisors want to do. It's really easy to use. It's really simplistic. And I think from a behavioural stance, from the business, it's not bad news to have this. It's good news. We're seeing it's intelligence. So we're selling to the population that this is great that we've got it, because we've not had it before. Habits are in the industry. They've been in the industry for years and years and years.
Yes.
And it's the way people work. So I think the beauty of it is the simplicity of the supervisors and they've been involved in the development. And I think also it's this, there's no one jumping around or you've got this, you've got this. It's all about how do we fix it? How do we learn from it? But it's actually learning from real live data opposed to what we think the solution is or we think the problem is. We've now got something that actually tells us in black and white, or colour actually, but where we are and what we need to do. Anything else, John, for you?
Well, I think as well, it's putting it into the hands of the guys on the ground as opposed to just sending alerts and data back to a data room or portal that then gets dealt with by people that aren't even on the site. Yeah, it was a step in the right direction initially, but I think from the app, it's putting it into the hands of the black hats or the site managers or whoever is on that site whilst this behaviour is happening. And just from the results we've seen from the initial trials that we did with AMCO on a few smaller sites, that it was something like 88% reduction in people coming near to plant within a matter of a month, and that is so powerful in itself that you can see it is actually changing behaviours. It's not just data on a page. They are having to deal with this in real time, and by doing so, they're policing it themselves. So they're staying away from that machine. They don't want these alerts to be created, but because it's in their hands and they are dealing with it, you're seeing the change straight away, and it's a really powerful tool.
It's an interesting approach to behavioral psychology in a way, isn't it? I think sometimes if you've got something there that actually, you're being not monitored on, because I think it's the wrong term, but something will pop up if something, obviously if you don't act in the right way. Very interesting, and that's a significant reduction from an incident perspective as well.
Yeah, and I think toolbox talks that we've been doing in the past, based on the data we were given, yeah, great, it helps, but I think it's just they're using it a lot more because they're the ones dealing with it. It's not somebody coming to site to deliver a toolbox talk. It's happening in real time, and we were amazed by the actual how quick it did change the behaviours on site, and it's literally keeping that extra couple of meters away from plant and machinery. That's all it boils down to at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And that's all it takes to be safe.
Yeah, I think Dan also the also benefit of it as well. We went into our journey with behavioural science and looking at things slightly different in behaviours and the environments we create, because of course that causes issues. The language within the app is all linked into that. So the training they've had in the last 1, 2, 3 years, and the language you use in the business is all linked to the app. So it actually links through. So they know what the language means, and they understand what the language is talking about, and they can then act appropriately based on that.
That's absolutely key. I want to touch on AI with this, because this is AI powered, and there's an element of that, and it's such a hot topic in the industry and how we apply it to certain operations at the moment as well. So you seem to have something here that is addressing that. How have you incorporated that into this software? And how do you see AI powered software like this benefiting businesses in the future, not only from a behavioral science point of view, but actually from a reporting point of view as well?
Right. So the system itself, the Safety Shield system, is where the AI sits. We were the first company worldwide to bring this into the market for construction, plant, and moving machinery. I know everything's based from an automotive perspective to start with. They were the first industry to bring AI into like lane departure warning and the car braking for you if you're going to collide with something. So we took that initially from that sort of sector, naively thought we could bring this into construction market and it would just work exactly the same. It actually took us 7 years to train the model to work accurately on a construction environment. Chris was involved with that early on at Balfour when he was at Balfour Beatties, and then helped us again when he moved over to AmcoGiffen. And we've gone through now so many ISOs and certification and self-certification. We've got over 20,000 units in the field now, and the beauty about that is nobody else has got anything like that amount of data and footage coming back, and we get video off every single one of those assets. That enables us to start training the model to do different things. So it's, for us, AI, you can't rely on any technology, I don't think, because where it comes down to safety. This is just like a third eye, if you like, just watching out. So the thing about the model that we've trained and the model that we've created is we can start to now look for different things. So we're now looking for walkways. So we're training the system to look for walkways, and if somebody's behind that walkway, and you can start using AI for analytics in the back end to then filter out those incidents. So, for example, you've like Chris said before, it might just simply be it's nothing to do with the person, but he's behind a half pedestrian barrier on a walkway that's clearly been put in the wrong place, and we get that a lot. But the system will detect that person because it can see half the person. Now, If we can eliminate that by detecting the walkway and knowing that that person is the other side of that walkway, then we can start to create more useful data in instances like that. The model now is also being trained for vehicle on vehicle, plant on plant. And we're even going that step further where we can identify different types of plant. So is it a roller? Is it an excavator? Is it a dump truck? And the reason for that is there's certain times when certain bits of plant you need to work very close to. And others shouldn't be in that area. So we can identify and start filtering that out. So the AI is being very useful in the analytical side of stuff on the reporting, but also on the training data. We stitch the two together, you can end up with a lot more meaningful reporting procedure off the back of that. And it's getting better and better all the time. I'm not saying we've got the silver bullet yet, because we haven't. But the more and more we keep training this and the more data we get, the better the model will be for different instances like that.
I think that's key as well. With technology moving as fast as it does, especially in the rail industry, we'll start to see a completely different landscape of how we operate in these environments. And you touched on a great point there about the walkways and the different challenges that you face within such different and diverse environments. How will you plan to continuously improve this as technology and time progresses and behaviours change as well?
Well, obviously that's the end goal. Change the behaviours. You don't need the technology, but you're getting new people coming into the industry all the time. So what we are working with a lot of the training bodies as well. So as new people, apprentices or school leavers or anything that come into the industry, get used to the technology from day one and actually embrace it, not look at it as somebody's spying on them, because they're not. And a lot of people see cameras and that's what they think is happening. As far as enhancements, we're looking from a safety side. We've already in different countries got trials, ongoing trials and tests, so that we, instead of just warning the person, we're bringing the plant to a controlled stop. So it takes over. If the operator doesn't react to the final warning, then the plant will stop altogether. Now, we've 7 or 8 cases that have been going now for 2 years, testing very positive, and something we will look to bring out in the new year. But there's a lot of other stuff you could do through the same cameras now, because our system is based on a central ECU, so it's a mini computer, if you like, that's running the AI chips. We can do a lot of stuff over the air if we get new features and new things coming out. But we've looked at a lot of railway issues as well, so overhead line sag, which I believe at the moment is done by sending a person out to actually monitor that by controlled weights on the side of the line. Now, if we can pick the line sag up through the actual cameras of Safety Shield and report that back, we can do the same with point run-throughs or overhead bridges and structures to stop people colliding with stuff. So it's the more feedback we get from any industry, so whether it be rail, construction, waste and recycling, whatever it is, there's always a different thing that people are trying to sort of overcome. Because of the size of the model that we've got and the amount of data that we've got, we can very quickly and easily work with different industries and different companies to quickly produce what they're looking for based on the problem. So we are looking at a lot through the rail side of things, which you'll start to see coming out over the next few months, and hopefully we get AmcoGiffen to push that along and trial that for us as well.
I think, Chris, your challenge overall really is that technology doesn't actually overtake that human instinct for safety. Obviously, when we're working in that kind of environment, the human element of it has to be retained. AI is a perfect example of that. So many people use it to enhance what they do, but there are some in certain industries that just use it to replace everything. And that's obviously a concern, especially from a safety point of view. From AmcoGiffen's perspective, how have you incorporated this into your team as an adaptation and enhancement of your safety critical operations rather than replacing the work that they would do beforehand?
As an organisation, we're very conscious to exactly what you've said, that AI doesn't take over and it doesn't become the place where we rest our laurels on that it's all okay. So as soon as we turn it off, we could reverse and be worse than we were to start with. People relying on it to be there. So I think John said it already. Our ultimate aim is to get the environments right that we go to work in. So the reliability of our workforce, they've only got one choice, and they know the safe choice, and that's the environments only allow one choice. But we've communicated and introduced the app throughout the business. Lots of training sessions to let people understand what it's for and what it does, what it's not going to do, and why we're doing it. And it's all backed by that ethos of this is here to help and support us and show us what we don't normally see. Yeah, so supervisor can't be on the site every place all the time and see everything. So it's just the ability to see what's happening, to communicate it to the workforce as well. Again, so when the supervisor has a discussion, it's not a discussion that they've done something wrong. It's a discussion that, okay, this is where we are. How can we create the environment or change the habit to get us to a more reliable safety output from it? So the sell is the big piece. And I say we're very conscious that any AI doesn't take over safety from a human being, because as soon as we do that, and as soon as the AI is either not available, not turned on, we could be in a totally different position. So we are very conscious of making sure that everyone knows that this is there to help and support, but the human being cannot be taken out of the equation.
Now, the key really for this is for it to be used across the entire network, really. Technology such as this is really important in improving that safety. And, you look at, as you said, the 88% of reduction in incidences in PPI. I think, that's incredibly important. How can people find out more about, S.T.R.E.A.M and how they can implement it into their own operations?
Right, so we officially launched it basically this week. We've obviously worked with AMCO prior to that, months and months prior to that. So that's been a great test case. But the way the app works is you can't just go on the App Store, download it, and away it goes. You need to be logged into the portal. So
Exactly.
it's basically a tool that's mirroring that portal. So if you've got portal access as it stands at the moment, or you take Safety Shield on going forward and get portal access, then we just send you a link straight to the app. So it's on the App Store. It's just hidden, if you like. So it's not the link takes you straight to it. So you can then download it from the App Store and away you go. Basically, it's very configurable as well. So for different industries, you'll be able to put different actions on there that you can change yourself. So it's not all just fit for one industry. We can use different tags on those actions. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We just send you a link and away you go.
And how do we get in touch with you?
Right. So it's obviously it's Safety Shield Global. The website is www.safetyshieldglobal.com.
Thank you very much, Chris and John. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for today.
Thank you.
No, thanks for letting us on.
That was Jonathan Guest of Safety Shield Global and Chris English of AmcoGiffen. Thank you very much for both coming on, sharing your insight into the innovation that you've created there. It's really, really reassuring to see technology and AI being used in such a way that's going to really be a benefit from a safety perspective on the front line, and actually having such a beneficial impact and reducing incidences as well. Absolutely fantastic. It's really, really important that actually we're using technology in the right way to make sure that everyone arrives home safely every day. And it's nice to see an app and software combined that's not only doing that, but actually providing reports. So from a behavioural perspective, these things can be reduced in future. It's interesting as well about Chris's point about how it's actually impacted behaviours on site as a result too. So interesting to see how that will be received going forward across the entire rail industry, and actually some of the other technologies as well. If you have a technology, or if you know of a technology that is being used from a safety perspective, let us know. We'd like to hear about it and share that story, because ultimately at the end of the day, we care about everyone's safety. We want everyone to get home safely. And if there's a product out there that we think is doing a fantastic job, then we'd love to hear about it. So thank you, Chris and John, for sharing your insight today. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Rail Industry Connected. You can view past and future episodes of Rail Industry Connected on YouTube, or listen to them on your way into work on Spotify. And of course, you can connect with other rail businesses and the industry on railindustryconnect.co.uk. Thank you and see you next time.